The Washington, D.C. region SCCA Virtual Racing League may base its races primarily on the East Coast, running tracks the region experiences in the real world. Tonight, though, because of the holidays and the inability for many of the regulars to join us, it's a one-off fun race with the Formula V all the way on the virtual West Coast in Long Beach, California. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Round 5 of the WDCR SCCA Virtual Racing League Formula Vs at Long Beach. I'm Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Horn. Connor, welcome aboard. This is going to be a fun one. Long Beach, it's a beautiful venue. It's a tight venue in a lot of places, but a small field tonight. 16 drivers running Formula Vs, and in a car this slow and this small, this is actually going to be quite a bit of racetrack for them to navigate.
Yeah, it's going to be kind of a little bit of a brawl with all 16 of these drivers. Some pretty even times on the sheet in practice so far, and it's been fun watching all these drivers try to rip her on this track in a car that barely even goes up to 100 miles per hour once you get to the longest part of the track. I think it's going to be pretty fun.
Yeah, so just about 2 minutes left in practice here before we turn drivers loose for qualifying. We've got 2 sprint races to bring to you in just a couple of minutes. Ken Ausil atop the timing and scoring charts. Notable, no DJ Alessandrini tonight, busy at work, so we will not be seeing any of him, but there's other regulars, Greg Ginsberg, Steve Ray, Jamison Huffman, Kyle Herbst, Will Robbins, and many more that are here to race at Long Beach. There's a look at the beautiful fountain at turn number 2. We'll take you through a lap here of Long Beach Street Circuit. Connor, there's a look at it. Front straightaway's got that big curve in it, but turn 1 is all the way down there on the left-hand side of your screen.
You got to be very careful going under there. You have runoff room, but you don't really want to use it. It's very easy to get caught in between turning left or just not making a corner. You can get very caught up. You might just go into those barriers if you're not too careful, if you don't bail out. Then in the turn 2, kind of an awkward spot. Kind of want a straight line into the section of the track out of 2 and 3 around the fountain. You got to be careful there, and then you're out 4 and 5, and you're right down onto that short stretch. Yeah,
a couple of 90-degree turns leading up to turns 6 and 7, and then turn 8, that right-hander that leads into a good passing opportunity. Turn number 9, then turn 10, and then that very famous final corner. That is turn number 11, and here is a look at it. This is the Hairpin Connor. This is one of the tightest radius corners in all of motorsports, and this is going to catch out somebody tonight for sure.
I don't know if it's famous or infamous. I think it depends on who you ask, driver or spectator, but it's definitely one of the more well-known tracks, well-known corners, excuse me, in all of racing pretty much. It's very interesting when you get down there. It's so easy that one car spins, you got pretty much everyone getting blocked up there. Only 17 cars, I think, in the session right now, but you can easily see things get a bit congested in there for sure.
Yeah, late join from Ryan Kristoff, so he'll be joining us tonight towards the back of the grid, or at least he'll get an opportunity to qualify here in just a moment's time. And then we're going to set the grid for our 2 sprint races. Again, the Formula V. What a fantastic little ride, Connor. Very low power, very low weight. Basically a go-kart with bicycle tires. They're a lot of fun to race, and I think tonight this will be my first time actually broadcasting a race with these cars, so this will be something new for everybody.
I don't think I've sat down and watched a Formula V race, so I'm excited as well. You can kind of throw these things around more times than not. We've seen in practice, these things are very bulky and very sturdy. We've seen people throw it into walls here and there, not much damage done to them. So it seems like these cars can take a little bit of damage, a little bit of beating and banging. So we might see that in between the drivers today.
Qualifying is now underway as we jump onto the racetrack now. 9 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. You're only going to get 10 minutes to lay down your best time. Jamison Huffman going to be the first driver on the racetrack. Handful of others. We mentioned Ken Ausil, who was the fastest in practice. There he is in the number 23. We'll ride on board here and give you an idea of how tight this circuit can feel.
And here we go into the fountain section. You want to straight line that entry. You really don't have room to do anything else. You got to ride just close to that curb. Get as close to these walls as possible. That is so important at a track like this, tight like this. Not really like Monaco, but if anything, it could be America's Monaco. It's either that or Nashville. This is one of those tracks, if you're not getting close to those walls on entry and exit, you're not trying hard.
I got some flack for comparing Monaco to Nashville. I actually agree with you, Connor. I think that Nashville has a lot of components of Monaco, but in the sense that this is a highly regarded race that everyone looks forward to, and based on just the city alone, I think there is some comparison to be drawn there, as you mentioned. In terms of the actual racetrack, it's a little bit wider than Monaco. You get a little bit more room to race, maybe not so much in a GT car, but in a Formula V, I think this is a lot of racetrack for these cars.
I think it will definitely be enough, but at the same time, we might see people go side by side, and a corner like this, it's going to be very difficult to go side by side, because I've seen a lot of drivers throw it into that left side wall there, and here we go. This is Ken Ausil we're on board with. see if what he can do coming out of a hairpin, I believe, to start his lap.
Yeah, this will be his first timed lap. And one of the things about Long Beach in any car is to get on throttle as soon as you can to carry as much speed as you can, especially true in this car when you don't have a lot of power to play with. You really have to get on throttle basically before you get to the apex so that you can speed back up as much as possible. Here's a look here. Ken O'Seal's all the way down the end of the front straightaway. Will he even hit triple digits? I'm not sure. Top of fourth gear. 96 miles an hour is his VMAX here, Connor, before he jumps on the brakes. Not even 100 miles an hour.
And right there, absolutely nailing that curb. Maybe a little too hard, kind of slapped the right rear on the wall there. I don't think the lap will count, but he's going to continue on right around the fountain once again. That's so difficult to do when, like you're talking about, you're getting on the gas before you even get to the apex, and that makes it so easy to spin the car out. I've seen a lot of drivers do that, spin the car out. It's also so easy to slow these cars down. Obviously, those puffs of smoke, I don't know if he's on the brakes or not, but you really don't have to use a lot of brake in these things. If anything, using the brakes in these Formula Vs is sort of deadly.
Yeah, you don't really want to use the brakes to slow down. You're really just jumping on them for a moment just to help point the car and shift that weight forward onto those front tires. You're not really slowing down all that much. I mean, 96 miles an hour was Ken's VMAX. You're not really going all that much slower when you get to the corners. So Ken, again, as we watch him speed back up, you're spending most of your time between 70 and 90, so you don't need to use a lot of that brake pedal. But Ken is going to have to go again, and you're not going to get a lot of laps in qualifying here just because the car is so slow. So you got to make sure you at least get a banker lap in where you don't hit any of those walls, and you have to push every inch, every boundary to maximize your speed around here.
And you can tell he's pushing as much as possible, pushing those boundaries. I mean, you can see how close he's getting to those walls on exit. He's using all of the curbs. We saw how harshly he was running over the curbs there, and he was able to make it work. But I don't think that lap's going to count because of a turn one incident. We'll see what he can do on this next lap, possibly.
Yeah, we'll see if it counts. It will not, so he'll have to go again. Morgan Burkhardt is the is the fastest driver on the racetrack at the moment, a 137.772. He was quick in practice as well, so this might be his week. Bit of a bobble through turn number one. Isaac Beekman, second on the board, 138.107. That is a 0.3 of a second difference at the top of the chart, and I bet you it'll get a lot closer before the session is over.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised too one bit. Trying to look at Burkhardt go around this circuit. Don't know how much you can really do differently. It's kind of, if you're running one line, there's one line to run here, and if you make the slightest of mistakes, you're not going to get a good time, which is kind of weird. That's the same for a car that goes much faster, but it really doesn't matter what the speeds you're making. It's just any little sort of mistake, you're just going to lose way too much time, especially in a car like this where you're just having to try so hard to keep the car wound up.
Yeah, you talk about wound up. You're having a look at the tack here on Will Robbins, and you can see he's in third gear. The car will bog pretty low, below 4,000 RPM, so you have to keep it, as you mentioned, kind of up in that power range, which is really above 6,000 RPM. That's where the engine sounds happiest. And Will, right now, currently listed in third on the timing and scoring. Here's Greg Ginsberg. He's going to come across the stripe. I think he will be starting a second lap, first lap invalidated.
Not sure what happened there, but that lap is not going to count. It might have counted. 154.3. I think it. No, it did not count.
It's not going to count. It's all going to be wall contacts that's going to invalidate these. It's almost impossible to get an off track here. There's no place to really go off course, but there is a really good way to find yourself invalidated in terms of lap time if you just catch that wall. Ken Houseal goes to the top of the board. How about a 137.248 for Ken?
A very strong lap there. About 0.4 faster than Morgan Burkhardt. Burkhardt's going to spin through turn one. That's going to be his qualifying over, so he will not get a shot to knock Houseal off the pole here.
I'm actually kind of curious to see how that happened. It's actually not trivial to spin one of these cars out. Just got too much curb, and that'll do it. Just got a little bit greedy there on the curbing. That's easy to do. And there's Greg Ginsberg spinning out at turn number 7, or 8 rather, the right-hander.
It's an odd spot to turn around there.
There's a look at it. I think he just had a lot of the weight shifted forward, and you can see it was already loose by the time he got to the corner. Bounces off the tires and gets back rolling. Ryan Kristoff is on track. Now, if I recall, Ryan Kristoff, he currently runs a Honda CRX over the Grid Life Series, but I think he had something sort of similar to this in SCCA competition prior to the CRX, and someone will help me out later. Ryan might be the one to see this, but he ran some super lightweight open wheeler, I feel like, before he had his CRX, so he'll have to correct me on that, but he's got experience in a car similar to this, and we'll see what he can do on his qualifying lap. This is only his first lap.
Love the scheme, the livery on this. Nice old Wienermobile. Pretty fitting for a car like this, although I think it's more of a pencil.
Yeah, there's a lot of great joke liveries for this car because of the shape as Kristoff is going to spin, and that will actually be his qualifying attempt, unfortunately. So that will be starting from the tail of the grid. Here's Jack Chrissy working through turn number 4. No time yet. He's already run a lap, but that was invalidated, so he'll have to go again.
I think Kristoff does have a few more laps to use up here. Not sure, but I think that was his only first lap.
Well, he might get time to run a second one. Actually, you see Jack Chrissy invalidate his second. Yeah, if Ryan could get back here to the stripe before about 1 minute and 38 seconds left, which I think he will, he'll get one more run at it here.
He's definitely going to get this lap in for sure. He didn't hit anything, but the tires, kind of difficult. Don't know how much of a difference, to be honest, it makes when you slide the tires like that in a car like this that doesn't have much speed, but you saw him slide them once. I wouldn't be surprised if he slides them again because those tires are probably not doing so well.
Well, the good news is that because the tires are so skinny, they don't have a lot of mass, so they're going to be pretty easy to cool off just because they're going to be hard to get hot in the first place. So not a lot of friction available in these tires. So 157.867, and that was an invalid lap due to the loss of control, but he will get a second full lap in if he can complete it. Jamison Huffman is working through the final corner. This is his third attempt at a lap.
He hasn't got all his other laps invalidated. This looks to be a clean run by the looks of it. We'll have to wait and see once he gets to the line.
And a long way to it. Across the stripe of 137.682. That is going to be good enough to put him third on the board. That was a good solid lap for Jamison Huffman. That shifts Isaac Beekman down to 4th, Will Robbins to 5th. Kyle Herbst runs in 6th. Greg Ginsberg locks a 14th place in. Kyle Herbst jumps up to 5th place as Jack Chrissy and Ryan Kristoff are the only 2 drivers remaining with laps to finish who have not yet put in a time.
And they're both pretty much on their final laps. You don't think there's going to be any time to make a run after the time goes down. Chrissy will definitely make it this run. Look at how hard he's pushing, so close to the barriers, but also getting all he can out of it. It's a good run down this stretch.
Sure is. About a minute left to get back to the stripe. Here's a look at Jack Chrissy's speed here. 96 is how fast we saw Ken House-Seal going. 94 here on the run to turn number 9.
Just flashed 95 for a split second, which is kind of surprising. I don't think that straight is much, if anything, it's definitely not longer than the front.
You get to VMAX pretty quick in these cars, and then you kind of just sit there for the rest of the straightaway. Final corner for Jack Chrissy. What's he going to run? Has no time on the board. Would need to beat a 141.324 to go faster. 137.436. That's good enough for second, and it will be. No, first. It'll put him first.
Wow. By just 100th of a second pretty much over Ken House-Seal. What a lap right there. Good job. Ryan Kristoff, a 145 flat. That puts him in the 17th position, but a great run there at the end.
Yeah, finally got a lap in, so that will put him towards the tail of the field, but he will move forward, I'm sure, as qualifying is complete here at Long Beach. And now time for our first of 2 races tonight. Jack Chrissy, Ken House-Seal going to share that front row. Connor, pretty tight. 12 thousandths of a second is all it was for the pole position.
Yeah, those are very close laps. I wish for once we could see kind of the ghost data like they used to do in the NASCAR for the Daytona 500, where we could see where they're making up time and where they're losing it. That's so close for such a long lap with these cars, 1:37.2, and it comes down to thousandths of a second. That was awesome.
This will be a 10-minute race, about 7 laps, so not a lot of laps, but a 10-minute race is actually going to be kind of a lot, I think, for these cars. Give the drivers a few minutes to sort things out, and then you're going to have to get strategic about making passes. Just waiting on Kristoff Rodriguez and Ryan Kristoff to join the grid, and then we're going to turn them loose for 10 minutes time here at Long Beach. Jack Chrissy, Ken House-Seal on the front row, standing start also, which is different from the norm here in the DC SCCA, at least virtually.
Also, it's going to be about, I think, 6 or 7 laps, so you're not going to have a lot of time to kind of formulate these passes, so you don't want to throw it in there, obviously, but you have to act fast.
Kristoff Rodriguez is the last driver we're waiting on. In the meantime, have a look at Long Beach, California. Population just shy of 500,000 people. The Long Beach Street Circuit was constructed in 1975. And the budget for the Formula One event here was $7 million and only made $100,000 in profit. That might be why you don't see Formula One here anymore, Connor, but they did try it back in the day.
Well, worth a try. Maybe not again, but I did not know that. That is actually a really good stat. That is unfortunately pathetic, but I wish that'd be cool if they came here again. It's a great track. I think I'd love to see Verstappen rip around this track.
Time to go green. Here we go. Green flag in the air, 10 minutes on the board, and a nice clean start from those up front. And I would hesitate to say thundering towards turn 1, but certainly moving that way. And Canal Seal clears Jamison Huffman. Jack Chrissy drops to third. Did not get a very good launch in these cars. We're going to be 3 wide on the run down to the first corner, I think, as they come storming down towards that first corner. Here's the 23 on the outside. That's Huffman down the inside. He's going to take the lead away.
That was a great move. All the way from fourth on the grid. He's all the way up to the lead already after 1 corner. Great job. 2 wide to the fountain. That's very tough to do, but they all made it work so far.
So far, so good. Up to turn number 3. I hear a couple drivers scraping the fence. I think that was the number 85 of Adam Kobach, just nipping the wall with the left side tires. Again, the other thing about contacts in this car is that you're not going that fast. So even if you make contact, it's typically not catastrophic, as here's Ken Seal for the race lead again down the inside.
Here comes Jack Chrissy back at him. They're going to go 3 wide for the race lead. Early to do that. I don't know if they know they're 3 wide. Huffman almost comes across Halseal there. He's stuck in the middle. Where do they go?
3 wide into turn number 8 now. The Huffman car makes out front. He spins right in front of the field. Off to the side of the racetrack. Everybody scatters, and more trouble behind him. The 835 is going to spin and bouncing and crashing upside down and over.
My goodness, that's Mark LeBancs upside down. Todd Rushing as well. Louis Lacey in the back, Will Robbins. That was a huge incident caused by the 3 leaders, just getting a little too antsy.
Yeah, that was unfortunate for Jamison Huffman as Todd Rushing finds his way into the wall. Meanwhile, here's Morgan Burkhardt. They're stuck in the hairpin, and more trouble for drivers down there. Ken Halseal's getting rear-ended now.
And that was him and Huffman again. That's kind of what happens when you have contact in the hairpin. If you're not in a good, you cannot see it if it's just outside on the exit. You can't see it, so it's so difficult to know what's on the other side unless you have a spotter active.
Well, that was unfortunate. That first lap did not go as I thought it would. As we come across to complete our first lap, it's actually Isaac Beekman who's out front in the number 1 car, with Jack Chrissy chasing behind, the pole sitter, who dropped out pretty early in the race into 3rd place, but now is on a charge back forward.
LeBancs, I think, is the only one to retire so far. LeBancs, is Isaac Beekman. Don't know how he quite got to the lead. We kind of missed it in all the chaos down the back straight, but Jack Chrissy wants that lead back after a pretty poor initial start, to be honest. Beekman doing well to defend right now, but Chrissy's got the pace and a little bit of slipstream.
Here it comes. The slipstream is pretty effective in these cars. Chrissy goes up the inside of the green car and takes the lead away from Isaac Beekman. And they'll storm up to turn number 8 now with Chrissy in command.
We'll see if Chrissy can put a bit of a gap. We didn't really see too much out of Beekman. Qualified 5th, not a bad lap, but it was definitely looking to be Chrissy and Halseal and Huffman who were battling pretty fiercely for those top spots. Trying to look back through the order. Herbst and Adam Kobach kind of survived all the chaos. They're 3rd and 4th, and it's a long way back to 5th place, Jamison Huffman.
Yeah, and Huffman right now has got Steve Ray right with him in the number 111. That's the car right behind the kind of metallic red and silver. We're riding on board with him now. Chasing him into the hairpin. Big nasty curbs on the inside you want to avoid there. Now set up this run, get it back on throttle as soon as you can, then utilize that slipstream to try to run Huffman down.
You say you don't want to avoid those kind of big old curbs, but I've seen a lot of drivers utilizing those. And these slow Formula Vs, you kind of want to use them. They might help you rotate a little bit. I think that's what I've seen a lot of drivers use to kind of rotate some of these slow corners. Ray trying to go around the outside, but it's going to turn into the inside, which is a strong move into turn number 1 here. A smart move. He's going to get pinched a little bit by Huffman. Where does Brian McRae go? Yeah,
delicate balance. We saw in qualifying, or actually in practice rather, a couple drivers get up on top of the curbs and spin out just like that. Steve Ray, big slide over the apex curb at turn 1. Now through the fountain corner here, there's Huffman, Brian McRae, and Morgan Burkhardt right behind, the number 2 running in 8th place. After starting this race in 3rd, he's gone backwards, but now has 3 or 4 drivers in front that he would like to get by.
And Steve Ray's a big mover right now, 13th all the way up to the 5th position. I think he is the biggest mover. It's about 8 spots. Ryan Kristoff is up to 10th. That's 7 spots. Good move so far after some chaos at the start. Some good racing back for the top 5 spot.
Greg Ginsberg is in pit lane, as is Ken Halseal and a couple others getting some crash damage repair. And back to 3rd place, that battle you were mentioning earlier. Kyle Herbst, Adam Kobach nose to tail.
I don't know. I don't know if my eyes deceived me. Was that bump drafting in a Formula V?
Oh, they'll give it a go for sure. Jack Chrissy, that's the race leader.
That was second place. No, that was the leader, excuse me. Where did that happen from? Where did that come from?
Did he just lose it, I wonder? He just turns in. Too much speed and spins out. And was there contact? A little bit.
Yeah, there was. Just a little bit. I don't know how much damage that's done to Beekman, but he's in the clutches of Kyle Herbst for the race lead now.
Yeah, it doesn't appear that there's any damage on Beekman's car, but Herbst is going to track him down and eat him up. Sun setting down by turn number 1. Here comes Herbst with a massive run. This will look easy for the number 89.
Yeah, Beekman not down on speed. I think the car is fine, but that slipstream, surprisingly, so key, as we were talking about briefly there. That slipstream is so vital as Kyle Herbst used it to his advantage to get to the race lead.
Got it done. Adam Kobach now third. Steve Ray losing a position here. Jamison Huffman on the inside. Huffman started this race in 4th, has dropped down a few spots into 7th. And with that, we only have 4 minutes to go, so this race went by pretty quickly here, Connor, but a lot of trouble that I wasn't really expecting to see. This was pretty physical, and there's no bumpers to save you. You lock tires, it'll spin you out.
Yeah, well, I thought Chris was going to be fine, but his wheel actually got ripped off after the contact with Beekman happened, so that's why he's not in the car and getting back going for a top 5 spot. But yeah, a lot of chaos, which I didn't expect. That all came from Ken House-Seal kind of getting a little bit too rough out of the corners there. 3 wide for the lead usually never works at a track like Long Beach, and it wasn't too surprising after they saw that. We saw a lot of drivers get involved, but right now, race for the lead still sort of on. Still some battles through the field. Battle for 7th, Jameson Huffman trying to move back up.
Yeah, Huffman's got it. Steve Ray wants it back. Has a run to the tailpipes here. Will he take a run? No, he's going to sit in line. That was a bit surprising to me. It's 2.5 seconds up to Brian McRae. I don't really know what Steve's trying to accomplish here other than maybe plan to pass Jamison in a more concrete area. Maybe he knows that he would lose the position again on the front straightaway, so no real rush to pass him here.
Well, the thing is, it looked like he was bump drafting him. I wonder if the bump drafting might be the way to do. I had never seen that. I mean, I've seen it in like the DW12s on iRacing, but I haven't seen the Formula Bs pull it off, and to me, that's what it looked like Steve Ray did. I don't know if he's going to do it again this time, though.
We'll see. He's going to track Jamison down on the front straightaway. This is the closest battle for position. Here comes Steve now with a run to driver's left. And looks like he's going to tuck back in behind Huffman once more on the run down to turn number 1.
I think they are working together. This must be the case. They're trying to get to Brian McRae, I believe.
Well, it's working. They did close in about a second on Brian, but I'm not sure that can be all attributed to the slipstream, but maybe Jamison's just running really good laps right now. Let's have a look at second. Here's Isaac Beekman and Adam Kobach. This is going to turn into a battle.
Beekman just cannot keep the pace right now at this point in the race, and Kobach's been charging. He's all the way up to 3rd from the 8th position, trying to get into the podium. He's trying to get higher up on the podium, excuse me. He's got a good run here. I don't think he's going to have a shot to use it unless he really wants to send it. He looks driver's right.
Yeah, a little too far back to make that move again. You're not on the brakes for very long. You don't spend a lot of time slowing down. But Kobach is reeling in Beekman. And we don't see any damage to Beekman's car. But he did make a significant enough contact with Jack Chrissy that it ripped one of the wheels off Chrissy's car. So I guess there could be some kind of damage underlying to Beekman that could be slowing him down, but he's got fairly decent pace.
You would think it would be right front suspension, because it was right front to right front, I believe, but it doesn't look like there's any visible suspension damage. But that car, the speeds down the straightaway did not look too bad, but he's just kind of dead in the water right now with all that slipstream out of Kobach. He's going to look to the inside.
Yeah, Kobach should make this look pretty easy down here at turn number 1. And we'll go through to the top spot. Beekman back to 3rd. And this is 2 laps to go, or at least it should be. Kyle Herbst out front by 2.2 seconds. Minute and 11 left on the clock.
Jameson Huffman pulled far away from Steve Ray the last few laps, so he's kind of setting out his own charge. He doesn't need help. He's going to close way in on Brian McRae through turn number 1. A great corner, too hard into the fountain, and he turns McRae.
Oh, that was unfortunate to say the least. Got in there a little bit hot. Did McRae maybe overslow a little bit? Perhaps. Takes 2 to tango here, Connor. Let's take another look.
Well, the closing right here, he closed so far in just in turn 1 alone, and McRae's just kind of being conservative.
Yeah.
Didn't really go for the fountain. A little bit of a mistake there, I'd say.
Yeah, I can't really put that on McRae. He just started making the corner. Just gets rear-ended, turned around. Certainly caught Huffman off guard.
That was odd. It kind of looked like both of them went to driver's left. And maybe like McRae was trying to give him the right, but
that's a bad spot to do that if that was the attempt.
If that was, it's about they really neither of them hit the apex.
That's what I was talking about. Those curbs there, Connor. That's going to take out Adam Kobach. And this is precisely what I was mentioning with those nasty curbs. You don't want to get too aggressive with them because this is what will happen.
And these cars are sturdy, but I don't think they're sturdy enough for that one. You can see that car is not looking good. He's in the wall again. Morgan Burkhardt just trying to figure out which way to go before he swerves one way or another.
White flag here at the start stand. See it on the top left of your screen. One more time around, and it's Kyle Herbst out by a mile. Burkhardt and Kobach fighting for second place, or make that third place now. Kobach has probably got some damage after nosing into the wall.
I'm interested to see how he gets into this corner with all that suspension damage. I think carefully would be the way he would do it.
Oh, you can see it is definitely trying to kill him at this point. This is not going to be a fun lap. Not going to be a fun lap for sure.
Oh, not at all. You can tell from my point of view, switching from car to car, how pushed in his right sides are compared to non-damaged cars. It is pretty funny, but also not funny because he had such a good run going and just threw it away with just an unfortunate mistake.
Look at this right rear tire and how it's killed, kind of off canter there.
Yeah.
And not a fun way to end the race for sure. He's still bobbing and weaving, trying to hang on to it.
He's got a gap.
Oh, the leader spun. Kyle Herbst spun. Here comes Isaac Beekman to the outside. He's going to take the lead away.
Oh, my God. Where did that come from? All by himself, over 4 seconds up, and he spun it all on his own.
Steve Ray also turned around at turn number 7. Oh, man. Final couple corners, Kyle Herbst spins out all on his own. And Isaac Beekman, he has been the man in position to take advantage of everyone's blunders tonight. One more corner for Beekman. Herbst is close, but I think back to the stripe, Beekman should be the one to win the race to the checkered flag. Past the start stand for the final time, and Isaac Beekman picks up an unexpected last lap victory.
And Burkhardt's going to, somehow in all that, he gets all the way back to the 3rd position. Kobach stays in 4th through all that somehow. Huffman, the run of the line for 5th is tough between Travis Trussell and Huffman.
Well, here's a look at what happened to Kyle Herbst. I'm going to go back a little further, I think.
It was in the term prior.
Yeah, here's a look. All on his own. Just carries too much speed.
We've seen that so many times in that corner specifically, and he gets out of a way so Isaac can get through, which is obviously the respectable move. Don't just sit in there. We've seen that a lot. That same corner catching a lot of people out. Turn 7, sort of the danger corner all of a sudden.
Yeah, danger corner. There's a look at your race results. Unexpected for sure. Kyle Herbst throws it away in the final moments here at Long Beach. A couple other drivers still coming back to the stripe, but all things considered, pretty interesting race. I think we saw more carnage than we were expecting to see, Connor, given the field size, but this car is challenging. That's why it's a great intro to racing and a great car because of its simple construction. But it has certainly posed an interesting and unique challenge today.
Yeah, I think people are caught off guard by sort of the challenges of a car like this. A lot of drivers sort of kind of don't take it for granted. They don't think it's that difficult. You know, slow speeds, you can throw it around, just send it. But you do have to still, even in a car this slow, you still have to be methodical with your movements. You can't just rip it into a corner. You have to be smooth and you have to be patient on, if you're using brake, a little bit of brake, and you have to be patient on throttle, and you can't just jerk the wheel left or right. You have to be methodical with your movements.
All right, well, now it is a 15-minute race. Time to head back down to the grid for one more go. And what have we learned, Connor, is that you got to make it through lap 1. To finish first, you must first finish, and there's a lot of drivers that didn't have that mindset going into this first race.
Yeah, I think you're going to see a lot more people be a bit more conservative, hopefully. The race for the lead got very intense on lap 1, and it got sort of kind of ended in tears for a lot of drivers there. We'll see if there's more patience in a 5-minute longer race.
Yeah, this will be about a 10-lapper now. About a 15-minute race. That'll be what goes up on the board. Kyle Herbst looking for redemption. So is Ken House-Seal, but he was starting from 13th place. That is a long ways back, Connor. A lot of cars in front of him.
Yeah, him as well. A few other fast drivers, Jack Chrissy, Jamison Huffman, a lot of guys down there who are very fast but couldn't get the finish they might have deserved, but they got to keep it clean here to get another finish.
All right, time to go racing in race number 2. Trussell and Chrissy not gridding for the second race, so Chrissy perhaps frustrated with the results of the first race. Jump start from the background there. One drive. That's Ken House-Seal. He jump started as the green flag finally waves, and Ken House-Seal's race is over before it even starts.
That's one way to go for the race lead, I suppose, but it's not definitely not a legal way. He's going to get into the second car on track. That was
well, you have to serve your penalty, Connor, no matter what. So if you jump, you should just commit to it and go, because the penalty doesn't change based on how much you jump. So he's going to take the lead away here or run up front, and then he's going to have to hit pit lane to serve that penalty, and no trouble. Oh, boy. They're all going to crash into turn 2.
Yeah. Burkhardt through the fountain. That was actually a pretty good recovery for Burkhardt. Halseel, he is having a rough struggle of things so far.
Yeah, actually it still ended up coming out front, but it was Kyle Herbst that got the short end of the stick there. And now another car spins on corner exit. It is just chaos. 3 more cars spin at corner exit. Louis Alessi in the 43, and a few others.
Will Robbins, Morgan Burkhardt way back there now.
Oh, Steve Ray's around. Oh, he gets clobbered.
One's into him. Greg Ginsberg, excuse me.
Oh, this is gone from bad to worse, Connor. This was not what I expected to see. More trouble behind him.
Oh my goodness, that's a blind corner. That's going to get very tough there. He's right on the apex just about. That's Cristoff Rodriguez. Meanwhile, in all this, the effective leader, I believe, is Adam Kobach, who's right behind Halseel. I wouldn't pass Halseel if I was him. Chrissy's sideways. Now Chrissy's spinning.
I didn't even think Chrissy made the grid, but he finally did. He's going to crash in the same spot that he did in race number 1, which is going to be frustrating to say the least. Here's Halseel down to serve his penalty. In theory, there he goes, and Kobach now takes the lead away.
Now Kristoff has spun, and this might actually work out for Halseel, as crazy as it sounds. I think all the chaos that happened, it kind of worked in his favor. I don't know how many positions he's going to lose.
A couple of them will go down to at least 10th. Isaac Beekman now under fire. This is a battle for second with Jamison Huffman and Isaac Beekman. Huffman noses out in front for the time being.
Beekman gets a slipstream for a split second. He's going to get back to the inside into turn number 1, but Huffman sends it pretty far. They're going to stay side by side. He got a single file out before the fountain, or unless you're not smart, then you go too wide through there, but they're smart.
Yeah, Huffman is the one that will come away with the advantage there. Here's Kristoff. Did he get the fence out of turn 1? I think he might have. These guys will try it side by side.
Works out pretty well. It didn't look like Kristoff had too much damage from that. Those tire barriers can be forgiving at times, and it looks pretty smooth right now. Jack Chrissy trying to recover all the way back up.
Yeah, Todd Rushing, the driver running in 7th. Haven't talked a lot about Todd tonight. His car featured on the thumbnail. He actually shot that picture this week because I wasn't able to due to my move, so thanks, Todd. Started 10th up to 7th and looking for 6th.
I think he had an early exit in race 1, trying to do a little bit better in race 2. He started 10th. He's up to 7th, looking for a little bit more. Actually, he's trying to look at the position. He is in 8th position right now. Got passed by Kristoff for that position as Jack Chrissy's all over him for the 8th position.
All over him would be an understatement. He is on top of him for that 7th position, and that was almost a touch on the run down to turn number 9. Chrissy is to the inside. A little bit of a late break. Chrissy's had trouble with this corner, but this time he completes it. Kristoff is sideways, and Chrissy will take 2 for 1.
It's a pretty impressive save right there by Kristoff, hopping the curb a little too much as they almost touch him and Rushing out of the final corners.
So that is lap number 2 complete. Meanwhile, for second place up the road, Huffman putting some distance on Isaac Beekman. Adam Kobach is out front, just ran his best lap of the race. So I think Kobach's idea is just to not look back, but we have seen the leaders get a little greedy a couple times tonight, Connor, and get themselves into trouble.
On top of that, that might have been his fastest lap, but it was Jameson Huffman going about almost 4 tenths faster. So it looks like Huffman, he had a good car, he had good time before the first race went sour for him.
Jack Chrissy just pancaked the wall at the exit of turn 1, as did, I think it was Todd Rushing that ran a little wide in turn number 1, so some trouble for those drivers.
Got to use all you can, I suppose.
Yeah, I mean, if tire bundles move, you try to nudge them out of the way so you can use another 6 inches next time by. Unfortunately, they don't quite work like that yet.
Not yet. They give it a few years.
I would like that. I know the U-Technics NASCAR games had movable safer barriers and tire bundles, and I thought that was really cool.
You could hit the barrels.
You sure
just
could.
Have the concrete wall sticking out there. Great idea. Only you could do that in iRacing. A lot more destruction would happen.
I'm not sure that we need that, to be honest.
We need an accurate simulator. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair enough.
What I'm looking at right here, excuse me, Huffman, he's really closing in right now. It doesn't look like Kobach has enough pace to stay in the lead for much longer. He's really getting closed in on, and Isaac Beekman's closing in as well.
Well, I think Isaac Beekman's plan, even if he gets back to Huffman, is to not pass him. I think he sees Huffman reeling in the race leader. Don't battle him. Let him run the leader down for you, and then take advantage when those drivers get involved in their own tussle. How about this for 8th place? Rushing Robinson House Seal. It's actually not House Seal behind him. That is, trying to see who that is.
Ginsberg.
That's Greg Ginsberg. Thank you. A lap down, still in the fight.
Keep saying Ginsberg. I apologize. It's Greg Ginsberg.
2 G's, that'll get you. Greg G.
Yeah, that's one. I'm putting it in a different spot. Trying to look at the running order. House Seal, I think, is 11 by my count.
He is. Now he's 10th, actually, on my scoring.
So it worked out.
Sure did. Drivers battling through turn number 1. Looking at him right here, Todd Rushing and Will Robbins. And now it's under a second from the race leader back to second place, Jamison Huffman. 0.8 of a second, and 0.6 back to Isaac Beekman, who was waiting in the wings, and he took advantage in race 1 of drivers that couldn't quite hang on together, but I think race 2, the opportunity still might be there, Connor. 8 minutes to go, and 2 drivers ahead of him that are very hungry. I think he might just wait in the wings and hope for some carnage again.
Yeah, meanwhile, battle for 4th, Morgan Burkhardt making his way back through the field. Fell back from starting 3rd. Now he's back up to the 4th position, getting by Brian McRae after a mistake from McRae out of 7.
Yeah, on board with McRae now heading into turn 9. Wow, Burkhardt using so much more racetrack at the exit of 9.
He is fast. He was so much. He was even 10th faster than all the top 3. So if those 3 battle, he's not completely out of it, but he's got a lot of time to make up, and he's still got to fend off McRae here.
I don't think anybody's out of it based on what we've seen so far tonight. I think you're in it no matter what. Kristoff has had a collision. That is Greg Ginsberg that he has collided with.
Be careful, Cristobal coming through there. Get through there nicely.
Let's have a look at exactly how this happened. I think Kristoff is just going to spin out all on his own. Oh, he catches the wall on the inside, and Ginsberg has nowhere to go. Tangles with him.
That is so easy to do. When you're trying to get as close to these walls as possible, it is so easy to just nick that wall with the right side in a corner like that. It is almost sometimes too easy to do that.
It is a grabby wall, too. I've hit it a couple of times. It is not a fun one. As we've got a battle for the race lead, Jamison Huffman is there. Oh, he almost, I heard the wall contact there. He is using every inch of the racetrack.
Yeah, and it looked like Kobach was trying to as well on corner entry as Isaac Beekman kind of falls back, maybe to design, maybe just doesn't have the pace, but Kobach is on the defense right now. He doesn't have much to defend with Huffman. Huffman's got all the slipstream in the world to work with right now.
Yeah, last time by was 0.4 faster than Adam Kobach. He's going to go for it here into turn number 9. Brave move here. Does Kobach give it to him, or does he fight him? He's going to fight him to try to stay on the left through turn number 10. Oh, boy, this is dicey stuff. Side by side into turn 11 now.
Kobach's got positioning, but I don't think he's got enough to work with, but he's going to get in behind, and that might be by design to get Huffman's slipstream here.
Now onto the front straightaway. 6 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, and here comes Kobach with another run. He's going to go driver's left. That was a good call with turn 1 coming up.
Very smart of him. I think that was definitely by design, and I don't know what else he could have done if you were Jamison Huffman. They're going to be wheel to wheel, almost banging wheels, as close as he can be without banging wheels into turn 1.
Don't want to do that. That'll be a bad time at 95 miles an hour into turn 1. Kobach with the inside line is going to take advantage of it, but Huffman keeps a lot of great speed through turn 1, and he's going to take the lead away and clear Adam Kobach through turn 2.
That was a strong move to hold it around the outside. Not quite sure how he did that, but he's not out of the woods just yet. If Kobach can just stay close enough, he can still get that slipstream and make another move at him.
Yeah, but Huffman was so much faster the last couple of laps. Kobach really needs to stay on top of him here, and already he's lost 0.3. This might be Huffman's race to lose here.
Well, we've seen people lose it before, but I don't think he's out of a slipstream range just yet. We'll see what type of cornering he can do here, Huffman. Exactly. Kobach trying to stay with him. He's got to send it here. He did try to go a bit deeper into that corner. You see how hard he's pushing it. He might still have one more shot at him here.
Down the back straightaway. Puff of smoke. Common from these engines. Kobach trying to keep Huffman within striking distance. Next time by will be 4 laps to go.
how hard Kobach's pushing it as close to the wall as he can be right there. It wasn't a good entry for this set of corners, but he's going to be closer here. But look at the exit. Huffman cornered that beautifully.
I did a good job there, but now the slipstream will come back to Kobach. We'll see if he can reel him back in. Louis Alessi, Steve Ray nose to tail for 12th, but we're going to keep you on the battle for the lead. 3 tenths now, 3.5 tenths as it comes down from half a second, and I think Kobach is going to have enough speed to get to Huffman. Maybe not past him, though, by the time they get to turn 1. Here he comes.
This might be his last shot. I think he knows that, how hard he's going to send him. He's going to actually stay behind him. He wants drivers right. He wants the exact same move Huffman just made to him. Look how hard he sends it.
Too hard.
Not even close to making the corner.
Yeah,
though.
too hard. That's going to be it for Kobach unless Huffman makes a mistake. I liked the idea, Connor, but I think the execution was just a bit off.
Execution was definitely a little bit off there, but I saw what he wanted to do. He saw that same exact move work for Jameson Huffman. Oh, just hold it around the outside and turn 1, set up for the fountain. Sounds like a good idea to me. That's so close to executing it. And he's crashed now. Both of them have crashed. Beekman as well.
Yeah, Beekman's in the wall even harder than Kobach. Kobach will get back rolling. Beekman, the race 1 winner, having trouble at turn number 5. Kobach hangs on to 2nd. Burkhardt comes into 3rd.
Both of them did the same exact thing. That left rear tire, that tire barrier sticks out just a little bit, and both of them caught it with their left rear. It was kind of monkey see, monkey do there.
Yeah, well,
sort of moves up. Oh my goodness.
More
Chrissy's
contact.
all over.
Yeah, Chrissy and Beekman colliding here. Now Chrissy's got to run. I think Beekman's got damage. This should be fairly easy for Chrissy. And he will drive right by. As you see ahead of him, this is a battle for 2nd, Kobach and Burkhardt, and Kobach's got a ton of damage.
Yeah, I think actually Kobach got even more damage than, I think surprisingly got more damage than what I think Beekman did, although both cars look extremely damaged. As they're probably just going to have to limp it home. Too late to pit at this point, but they do have a gap to a majority of drivers. Yeah,
that's going to be a tough one. Here's Steve Ray and Louis Alessi. This is the battle for 12th. And Louis trying to do the undercut here, over-under on Steve Ray. These two have been kind of in lockstep with one another for the last couple of laps. Having a lot of fun back here, I'm sure.
They're doing a great job battling right now. It seems like one driver gets the edge and the other driver just pulls it right back.
Adam Kobach drops to 5th place. He's going to hit pit lane. So will Isaac Beekman. That is going to be heartbreak for those two.
The lead has significantly shrunk. Burkhardt has closed way in on Jameson Huffman.
Well, he did gain 6 tenths naturally last time by. I think Huffman might have just caught the fence at the exit of turn 4 as well. So will Burkhardt be able to run down Huffman in the final couple laps here? Next time by will be 2 to go. This is 3 to go right now.
Looked like Huffman kind of just lifted on the straightaway. I'm not sure if that was accidental or he's just trying to battle with a little bit with his teammate here, both with the Mario shell paint schemes. They might be, be careful though. Jack Chrissy's there as well. Yeah, not only 2.5 seconds back, and that is not an insurmountable difference, especially if these two tangle here. Burkhardt looks left and to the right, left, and on the brakes for turn number 9. I like the idea. Just give us a show. Why not?
It's going to be a show no matter what. I promise you.
Is it going to be a clean one or a dirty one?
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
Last corner here, coming to 2 to go. And Burkhardt gets a really good run. They almost bang wheels there, Connor. Drag race down the front stretch.
They want to battle with each other. They're going to bring Jack Chrissy right into this with this battling.
Yeah, Jack's knocked off a half a second in the last half of that lap alone. Here comes Burkhardt again, and we are just shy of having that have been the white flags. This is going to be 2 laps to go. It's 2.1 seconds back to Jack Chrissy. You can see him in the mirror. Jack started this race back in 11th spot.
Oh! Into a barrier goes Huffman right there, and he's going to let Burkhardt get away.
So trouble for who was our race leader. Was there some contact here with Burkhardt?
I don't think so. I think there was just a little bit too big of a send there.
Ooh, at least he hit it fairly square, so it shouldn't knock the steering out. He's still in 2nd place and within draft range, and now Jack Chrissy's only 8 tenths back. This is going to be a 3-horse race for 1st place.
Got a green shell and a red shell, but right now Jack Chrissy's playing the blue shell right now. This is going to get intense.
Oh, he is there. He is coming. Will these two tangling bring in Jack Chrissy, who was leading when he had an issue in race number 1? Here we go. 30 seconds left in the race. They're going to get one more lap, and Jack Chrissy will probably need no more to be right in this mix.
This is all he's going to need right here.
Into turn 9, they're going to collide, and here comes Chrissy up the middle. He's going to take one spot, now go to the outside for the second.
Oh, that was intense. I don't know how neither of them completely wrecked it. Huffman's going to have to try everything he can to hold on here. Is this the final lap? They're 3 wide.
They are coming back to the checkers. Early checkered flag. Coming back to it now. Jamison Huffman is going to almost win. Is he going to get there? He will. Jamison Huffman is going to win the race back to the checkers as Jack Chrissy and Morgan Burkhardt get together. What a wild ending. The checkered flag came a little sooner than we thought. We actually never got a white flag wave from the main stand because it was so close. But that's the game you got to play. They knew it was white flag, Connor. We certainly didn't. But here's another look at the last couple seconds of this as it came down to the wire.
That was very close to being a 3 wide run to the line here. Chrissy got exactly what he needed. He didn't have the door quite opened quite enough. Huffman kind of a little bit wide, and Chrissy just couldn't capitalize.
That was a wild one. Fantastic stuff, though. A lot of fun to watch. Jamison Huffman is your race winner. And that's his teammate, Morgan Burkhardt, battling with him there all the way to the end. Good stuff. Let's have a look at your race results for race number 2. Kick things off with page number 1. Jamison Huffman wins it by 2.8 tenths of a second. Then Morgan Burkhardt in third. Todd Rushing, Will Robbins, Ken Auseal, Adam Kobach, Travis Trussell, Brian McRae, Isaac Beekman, who was your race 1 winner. He comes home in 10th.
He just came home in 10th, actually. I believe that's the last driver to cross the line.
Man.
Oh, actually, there is a drag race for the 11th position. Lacey and Ray, and Lacey gets it.
That was by 26 thousandths of a second. We should go back and have a look as they came down. Oh, it's ticking over. Oh, we got one more, I think, tonight.
Yes, we do.
So we got a whole other race coming up here. We had our first 2, and now we're going to get another 15-minute race. This will be a 20-lapper. Or actually, it should still be another 10-lapper, 20 minutes. We got a short break here, so we'll be right back with race number 3 of the evening. Back live here for the Washington, D.C. Region Virtual Racing League for our 5th round of the season. It's been Formula V's at Long Beach. One more race to race tonight, Connor. It's been a wild one so far. I don't think we expected it to be as physical as it's been, but this is our 3rd and final race, so I'm expecting more of the same.
Yeah, kind of surprised by the attrition rate we've seen in these first 2 races. I don't know if it's going to get better or worse for this one. This is the main race, but it's definitely going to be pretty fun for sure. The first race, I think a lot of drivers were called out by what the car was driving like. I think the second race, more drivers were accustomed to it and ready for what the car was giving to them. And now I think we're going to see a lot more refined racing. I would hope for.
3 minutes left in our warm-up process here. Isaac Beekman has been kind of in contention for both race wins. Race 2 had an incident in the last couple of laps, but race 1 was able to conquer after Kyle Herbst had an issue and he went to victory lane. Beekman did. So who is the favorite for race number 3? Ken Auseal's had a troubled night, so I'm not sure we can count on him.
Not sure where Auseal will be starting for this one. Trying to look at it, he actually got all the way back up to the 6th position, so I wouldn't count him out quite yet. But Morgan Burkhardt, in my opinion, has been the most consistent one all night. I think he might have even finished 3rd in all the races so far. So I think that's as consistent as you can get without being 2nd or 1st all the time. So I wouldn't be surprised if he pulled it off for this one.
So we'll have field of 17 going green here in just a couple of minutes for our last race of the evening. If you're watching on Sim TV, make sure to subscribe and join us for more DC SCCA action for the remainder of the winter. Next race on Sim TV will be next Wednesday. It'll be our return to GT4 action, this time at Watkins Glen International. So make sure you tune in for that next week. Got more leagues returning back to Sim TV that were on hiatus for a little while due to some scheduling over on our end. But back in 2022, Connor, the Indy Elite Series will be back next year. So that'll be a lot of fun. The Outsider Racing League will return for some NASCAR oval racing action, and also the Majors Series, the Scars Run Majors Endurance Series will be with us for a couple of races next year. So a couple really interesting things on the short and long-term horizon here at SimTV.
It's going to be exciting for sure. I'm interested in the Indy Elite Series. Adam Blocker, I really thought he had the championship, but he just couldn't hold on to that Auto Club. I'm expecting him to come back with a vengeance as long as he's running this next season. Outsiders Racing League, believe it's going to be a pretty exciting season, no doubt about it. The chase is rolling through right now. I think Zachary Carr is looking for another championship in those next-gen cars, so I've been interested in that. In the Scars Series, some endurance racing, who could say no to that?
Yeah, really good stuff on the horizon. Just basically one league for a little bit of everything across the board. You got your WDCR, SCCA for your kind of home track sprint racing on the road side. We've got an endurance road series, Indy Oval, NASCAR Oval. All sorts of good stuff coming next season, so stay tuned for that. A little bit of a rebrand coming up our way also, just visually, just some slight changes. The ticker that you're seeing here is more or less what we're going to be using, but it'll just be a little bit different heading into 2022. So warm-up has been going. Only a couple of drivers have taken the opportunity to run some warm-up laps, Connor. A little bit surprised by that, primarily because it's been a tricky night for a lot of people, and we've seen a lot of mistakes happen.
I think in the first race, a lot of mistakes were caused by sort of the surprise for a lot of drivers that they weren't getting the feel out of the cars that they were expecting. Maybe just they didn't get enough practice initially. I think the second race, there was a lot of the wrecks in the first race, I think, were caused by sort of just some growing pains with the car. I think the second race was just too much aggression from a majority of the drivers. I don't think it was really caused by trying to handle the car. So I think if we see the aggression levels sort of drop a little bit, if we see that happen, it's a big if, but if that happens, I think we can see some pretty good racing. I think the majority of the drivers have the car under control now.
All right, time to head down to the racetrack now for our final race of the evening, another 10-lapper like we just had. And this time, Jamison Huffman is going to start on the front row. Your starting lineup is on the left-hand side of the screen. And Ken Ausiel starts 6th. That's a driver to keep our eye on, but the last race was not a good one for him. Jumped the green flag, caused a collision, then had to go pit. Ended up finishing 6th, Connor, but it was not a straightforward race and not the way I don't think he wanted that race to go.
Not making friends by any means either. It was a pretty unfortunate incident for the majority of the drivers he did get collected in that. Luckily it wasn't more. I think Burkhardt went through the fountain just to avoid him, but hopefully he can clean it up a little bit here because he is a very fast driver and it's fun to watch him wheel these things. So we'll see what he can do on this start. We'll see if he can actually go on the green light this time. Yeah,
it looks like we're just waiting on Ryan Kristoff and Mark Labance, as well as Travis Trussell and Todd Rushing. So 4 more to grid, but they're only going to have 5 seconds to do so. So I think we're going to be down a couple of cars. And yes, Rushing, Trussell, Kristoff, and Labance will not make it to the grid. Time to go racing here. Trussell did make it. Todd Rushing will not. Kristoff and Labance will not. Time to go racing for the final time this evening. 10-lap race, 15 minutes. Green flag flies, and we're racing at Long Beach. Good, clean start up front. Jamison Huffman is going to be the leader down to turn number 1. Burkhardt and Chrissy, 2nd and 3rd in line.
Chrissy, again, not really good in a standing start. I think I did see someone start from the pits that was Travis Trussell, but I think just missing 3 cars as the battle for the lead into turn 1.
Here comes Burkhardt up the inside in the number 2. Jack Chrissy is behind in 3rd, going for 2nd place as they make it through the first corner.
Too wide through here. That's going to get tight. Huffman to the inside. They're going to stay too wide. Didn't expect that so close to the walls, but they make it work.
I think Huffman's going to try to keep the left front tire to the inside of Chrissy just so that he can have the run through turn 4, and indeed he will. And here comes Ken Ausiel, 3 wide again.
Oh, they're looking 4 wide. That's not even going to come close to working. Here is the leader, Burkhardt, just running away with it right now.
Yeah, I think Ken Ausiel's going to sit this 3 wide out, try to get one of them on corner exit. Huffman a little bit slow. Ausiel sees the door open. Wow. They're all going to squeeze left and right. Here comes Huffman on the outside now of Chrissy, who goes defensive.
I don't think the aggression levels are dropping. I'm just going to... I don't think it is, as we've seen them get so aggressive. I'm so shocked by the lead they're letting Burkhardt get out to.
Yeah, Ken Ausiel had a lift, and now Will Robbins took advantage of that move solidly into 4th place. 2nd still under fire. Chrissy on the inside, Huffman on the outside through turn 9. Huffman looks left, looks right. Behind him, Will Robbins and Ken Ausiel tucked nose to tail. This is where you get that accordion effect here.
Oh boy, there it is.
Yeah, there it is, and they're all going to spin and slide. A couple cars, Kyle Herbst, Jamison Huffman get the worst end of that.
Greg Ginsberg just trying to find a way to get around as Herbst kind of loses the most out of that as Burkhardt continues to lead. Jack Christie finally clear of all the chaos there as he got past all that, or was in front of all that, as he sets his sights on the lead.
Here's Ken Ausiel now looking for third on the inside of Will Robbins on the run down to turn number 1.
Whoa.
Car scattering behind, huh?
That was Beekman kind of driving Steve Ray all the way to the left side of a track. Don't really see that too often.
A little bit of argy-bargy, kind of forcing competitors over to the side of the track,
boy.
and Kobach gets turned and gets hit by Louis Alessi and Cristobal Rodriguez. Oh, there are more drivers collected.
Just a blind corner of these drivers you can't see. If there's an incident there and you don't have the relative up, for example, you just can't see what's on the other side. That was Adam Kobach losing a wheel there. Meanwhile, the battle for the lead.
Here's Jack Christie all over the back of Burkhardt now. This is with 12.5 minutes to go already. A battle formulated here at the front. 1.6 back to Ken Ausiel, and he's far from out of it back there in third. Oh, Christie's in the wall.
Oh, boy. That was a big hit there, but I don't know if it was big enough to really destroy it. I don't see too much damage on it, but he is not getting this. He's actually, his speed is decent, but he's not getting the slipstream I expect.
Bigger hit for Steve Ray in the same corner just after we saw that. Oh, boy. And the race leader spins. Was there contact here, Connor? We were looking at another replay. Was there a touch?
All on his own. Burkhardt is just out there all on his own, and once again, we've seen it so many. 7 and 8, both these corners, he got on the curbs. You saw the car bounce, and there's just nothing he could do.
Yeah, too aggressive on those curbs. Again, you can use them if you're very cautious about how you use them. Travis Trussell spins at turn number 11.
Started from the pits, trying to get it back going. We've got 5 cars under black who could still win this race here, including Jack Christie, who nailed the wall out of 7, but doesn't look like it's dampering his car too much. Ken Ausiel finally in a position where he might be able to battle for this one.
Yeah, it's been a long night for Ausiel, one to forget, I'm sure, but he still has an opportunity to come through and pick up a win. 6/10 back from Jack Christie, scrapes the wall just a little bit, rubbing the lettering off the tires.
Ginsberg, he's damaged his left front suspension. Meanwhile, looking at a battle farther back, there was a battle for 7th. Jameson Huffman.
He did loop it again. Yeah, he lost it in turn 2.
Let's say it was a good battle. Kyle Herbst up to the 7th position now as everyone else trying to battle in the top 5, trying to get right next to each other, trying to use a slipstream right now.
So Jack Christie leads the way at lap number 3, then Ausiel, Robbins, Burkhardt, and Brian McRae, and another boom I heard at turn number 7.
That was McRae from the 4th position.
Yeah, let's see how bad of an impact it was. We heard it, we didn't see it.
Judging off the sound, it couldn't have been good. Was this wall or tire barrier? Oh, that's tire barrier all the way.
It definitely hurt the steering as well. That'll be a pit stop or a laboring final 10 minutes of this race. I think with all the damage that we've seen drivers get, I think you should just come and get it fixed. That's what he's going to do. No need to run around there all torn up. Everyone else is going to have issues too. You might as well fix your stuff while you can.
I think your best bet is to stay in the pit lane. It's way safer in there.
We haven't seen a lot of crashes down there. Here comes Ken Ausiel to the outside.
Yeah, that's been pretty clean out there as we see Kobach coming back on track with the leaders 2 by 2, sort of a little bit there. Sort of spread out. Christie defends nicely. Ausiel just gets back in line.
Yeah, Christie's kind of driving a little deeper into the corner, and Ausiel's prioritizing the exit, which I think is the move that you want to do. But Christie's been pretty quick tonight, but the consistency has really been nobody's strong suit this evening.
Yeah, consistency has pretty much been scratched off the list of things you have to value, so it's been a bit from anyone, unfortunately, but it's been pretty entertaining to watch as McRae finally gets out of the pit lane after his escapade with the turn 7 tire barrier. Ginsberg spins, but meanwhile the battle for the lead still heats up. Ginsberg, he's actually spun right in front of the leaders, trying to get out of the way. I think he will just in time.
Yeah, there he is at turn number 8, and he will move off to the right. But Ausiel is got a little bit of a buffer back to Morgan Burkhardt, but we'll see if Morgan's still running competitive times. He was faster than the leader last time by. Ken Ausiel was 6/10 faster, though, and I think that's where this battle is going to heat up. You see Christie sliding those tires.
You see Ausiel closing in because of that. These two battle, there's no doubt in my mind. Burkhardt and Robbins are still in this as Ausiel, he's going to get too close to that barrier a little bit, and he's going to lose all that time back. Not too much damage, but the damage is from the time he lost.
Yeah, he hit both sides of the wall, kind of ping-ponging off left and right.
Car kind of looks a little crooked, but I don't think these cars are very symmetrical anyways. It does look a little bit bent, but I don't think it's dampening his speed too much.
Doesn't seem to be affecting the steering input massively, but he did lose that ground, as you mentioned, that he had gained. 4/10 lost to Chrissy that time through.
Still plenty of time to get it back, though. Plenty of time. As Chrissy, with him sliding that car, he's either going to get past or he's going to put himself into the outside.
Yeah, we're about halfway through. We're about halfway through this race, 7 minutes and 50 seconds to go. And the interesting note also, Connor, is that last time we had 9 laps in the race because the leaders ran fast enough that we actually had 1 lap cut short because we missed having an extra lap by like 2 seconds. These guys are running even a quicker pace than they were previously and not having quite as many issues. So we might get that 10th lap, and that's another lap that Hausiel needs to use.
He's going to be able to use it. He might not even need to use it now that I think about it, because he's already gaining that time right back up on Chrissy, because Chrissy just... Oh! He's crashed hard, and Hausiel barely avoids him. So barely avoids him, and he catches Will Robbins.
That's, yeah, it is Will Robbins. Thought it was Beekman. Beekman will slide through. Robbins just a victim of that. So Hausiel granted the lead. Morgan Burkhardt in second place now, and Burkhardt was faster than Hausiel, but that was with Ken having an issue.
Man, it's just so crazy. I did not expect turn 7 to be the big trouble spot, but we've seen more in there than we have in the hairpin.
Yeah, the hairpin actually really hasn't been that big of a deal. We've had a couple stack-ups there, but you expect that. I don't think you expect it everywhere else.
It's really been 7 and 8. Both those corners, we've seen cars just nailing the outside walls there.
You just have, this is a momentum car, Connor. That's what makes this so challenging, is that you have to carry as much speed as possible, and that will take you right to the limit. When you're in a big GT car, you can sort of afford to leave 6 inches on the table because you've got 600 horsepower to make up for not using all the racetrack.
What's crazy about it is turn 7 and turn 8, it's primarily been where the leaders have crashed. There hasn't been too many instances with drivers that are not at least racing for the lead, but we've seen if you're on your own just leading the race, it is a big trouble spot. You might just want to back it down there.
Calamity Corner, add that one to the list. So Hausiel and Burkhardt run nose to tail. Burkhardt is actually still closing in just a little bit at a time. You don't need to do it quickly either. We've still got 6 minutes left. That's about 4. Oh, he missed a shift there. That's going to cost him a bit.
Not too much, though. He's getting as close to those barriers as he can as they come to Calamity Corner. It's on the same pedestal as turn 8 at Montreal for some reason. Both corners where they're not too easy, but they're not places you expect anyone to really go off too much. But they've definitely both earned a reputation as just being very aggressive corners for all these drivers.
I'm just really surprised that we've seen as many issues as we have repeatedly. Typically, you'll make a mistake and go, okay, let's not do that again. But we've seen multiple drivers of a high skill level and high caliber make the same mistake a handful of times. That just tells me that this car and track combination is extremely challenging.
It could be unpredictability as well in these cars. These cars aren't always going to be the same thing at times, as that could be an issue with it as well. The Formula V, it could grip up through that corner one time, and then the next time, the rear end will just come out of nowhere. You ran it the same way both times, but the car decides you're just not going to make it that time.
And that might be a factor of that. It might be caused by the narrow tires as well, right? Because you don't have a ton of mechanical grip or aero grip or any grip. So it makes searching for grip that much more important. And when you miss it, it's that much more obvious because you already have so little to work with.
Yeah, it is tough to search for grip because there's really only one line that works for a car that really doesn't get up to a high speed. So you really have to do the same line over and over again because it's just what works to get yourself out of the corner at a high speed. So there's not much else you can really try. Oh, Hausiel really hopped the curb there. He's not as smooth as he really needs to be here. That's going to allow Burkhardt to close in even more.
Yeah, Burkhardt again was 4/10 faster, so he's reeled in Hausiel down to a half a second lead. There has been a curse on the leaders tonight. Hausiel is in the catbird seat to get whatever the racing gods deem necessary punishment for today.
Remember the lap 1 incident? Kyle Herbst got the short end of the stick? Well, he hasn't really. He's already fighting back for the podium with Isaac Beekman.
Yeah, Herbst had a lot of bad luck in the first 2 races. Should have won the first race of the night and lost it on the final lap. And then race 2 was caught in some other people's issues. Race 3, so far he's had a decent run, but a little ways back from being in contention for the win.
Will karma come back to redeem him, possibly? We never really know. With how these races have gone, I wouldn't be surprised if 9th place Jack Chrissy could still win.
This time through 3 minutes and 30 seconds to go.
Be about 3 laps here.
That sounds like correct math to me. And Burkhardt about 5 car lengths back and closing 4, 3, now 2 car lengths back. And he is there for all intents and purposes. Meanwhile, Beekman and Herbst fighting for the last spot on the podium.
Those guys are going to go too wide into turn 1 likely, unless Herbst can just clear him. Battle for the lead. Burkhardt's still there, trying to do some over-under action, trying to get runs on Halseal here.
Through turn 1, Kyle Herbst comes out with 3rd place.
Oh, Jamison Huffman spun from 5th right behind these guys.
All the way back at the exit of turn 1. That was late in the corner as well, peculiar one.
No damage done. He'll get it back going, and I think he's actually going to stay in the 5th position.
So Morgan Burkhardt now working over Ken Halseal. He's going to have 2 laps left, in theory, to do it next time by. Now, remember, race 1 only went 9 laps.
Gearing up for, I believe, 2 more here. We'll see where they get to the line this time.
Yeah, if they get to the line with more than a minute and 38 seconds remaining, we'll know that it will be 2 laps. It's about a minute and 38 or less. It should be 1 lap to go, but as we've seen, sometimes you don't get that white flag waving even if you'd expect it to. Here we go. Here comes Burkhardt with a good run right behind Halseal, and he's going to have him in the slipstream into turn 1, I think. As they cross the line, this should be an easy 2 laps to go here, Connor.
Trying to look, there are no flag from the starter, so it shouldn't be the white flag, but we've seen that doesn't really matter as he's got the run Burkhardt does on Halseal. Coming up on Will Robbins, will he play factor when they get to him, side by side?
Into turn 1 now. Morgan Burkhardt takes the lead away, but can he complete the pass? Halseal has outdriven himself a couple times through here. Big curb jump through turn 1, and now tables have turned. He's on the attack.
But it's all up to Halseal now. How close can he stay? He's got to stay close enough to at least make a move thanks to that slipstream, as he's got to try everything he can, maximize these corners without completely destroying the thing.
Started this race back in 6th, missed the apex there just a touch.
Ooh.
Within striking distance still, though, plus that lap traffic that you mentioned.
We'll see if Will Robbins does anything here. Burkhardt really lifted into the corner there. I think earlier than Halseal was expecting, and it kind of helped back Halseal off a little bit somehow.
I think that was good. Back up the driver behind you so that he can't build a run. That was seemingly pretty effective. Now,
not effective enough.
Turn 8, look out. Or is that turn 7? What are we calling that corner?
That's 7. That is turn 7, but back to the race for the lead. Halseal's got the look. He's going to dive for it. Could this be the desperation move?
No, not quite. I think he just wanted to let Morgan know that he's still there. So this time through, coming into turn 1, this is the critical spot because this is the last time that they're going to get that big of a run on the straightaway. Big slide from Halseal, but he's going to set up the exit very, very well.
This is not the final lap. We didn't get any sort of indication, so this should be the white flag.
And there it is, waving. The white flag is out now with the 35 just ahead. Will Robbins about to go a lap down. Ken Halseal lost some ground, and he's going to have to make the pass somewhere else. Not on this front straightaway. Well, I don't think he's going to get there. He might.
No, he is gonna. He's definitely going to have a huge run all of a sudden here. He can't even defend it. Burkhardt can't.
Oh, I did not see that coming. He just built it so well in the last half of the straightaway through turn number 1 now. And now Burkhardt back on the attack here. He's going to have to get really creative. He can't bank on that front straightaway pass because we're going to get the checkered next time.
Yeah, he got him once, but he just couldn't keep him behind him. Halseal strong point made there. He said, I deserve this one a little bit more than you. Now Burkhardt's going to have to push even harder now to get that spot done again.
Good slipstream here. If he nails turn 6, he should be in position to get him on the run down to 8 and 9. Oh, Halseal slips. Here comes Burkhardt now with a big run.
But now what does Burkhardt do? Does he want to pass him now, or does he want to wait for the straightaway? I think he's going to wait for the straightaway, do the over-under here. Yeah,
make him shallow up the corner. Halseal's going to run wide. This will give Burkhardt the advantage he needs. Will Halseal go defensive? He can't. Here comes Burkhardt now with a run.
But who gets the slipstream? I think they're close enough to get slipstream from Will Robbins, and he's giving it to Halseal right now.
Checkered flag is going to be waving at the flag stand this time through. Burkhardt is on the left of your screen. Halseal on the right, side by side into turn 8. Halseal's a little faster. He's going to get the wall. Slip from Burkhardt now.
He didn't hit the wall. Halseal to the lead. What does Burkhardt do now?
Last corner, turn number 11. Halseal shallow. Burkhardt wide entry. Going to get the throttle down. Good drag race to the checkers. Halseal's got a better run, but it's going to be a slipstream battle back to the stripe. Towards the Acura bridge, just past it is the start stand. Ken Halseal fights back from an early awful evening, and he'll pick up a checkered flag to put the cherry on top tonight.
What a finish. What a job. Seal just muscled his way to keep that win. I can't believe he didn't wall it out of turn 8.
That was amazing, amazing stuff. And with that, those are the only battles that are going to come back to the checkers, 1/10 of a second. Everyone else has a lot of space between them, but that was good stuff. Here's a look at your race results here, Connor. That was my favorite race of the bunch, I think.
Oh, that was definitely amazing. No doubt about it. We had some strong racing. We had a little bit of attrition again, but for the most part, it looked like a lot of drivers were able to figure their stuff out a little bit. And we had a great battle at the end. Seal, I thought Seal had him. Well, I thought Burkhardt had him, excuse me, but Seal just muscled his way back to the front.
So Kyle Herbst will end up on the podium as well. Isaac Beekman 4th. Jamison Huffman is in 5th. We're going to talk to a couple of those drivers here in just a couple of minutes. Steve Ray grabbing a top 10. Louis Alessi will grab a top 10 as well. Good stuff there at the end. Here's a look at the drivers that have not had as good of a night. Greg Ginsberg, Brian McRae, and of course Ryan Kristoff did not get this race started. He only ran the first one and had a troublesome night, but that was a good one, Connor. A lot of fun. This is an interesting car to watch race.
No doubt about it. Kind of interesting to see how difficult it is. We've seen a lot of drivers tonight sort of have trouble, which is kind of surprising, but it just shows it doesn't matter how much speed you have. You still have to wheel these things no matter what. It's so difficult to get the car pointed the way you want to, especially through 7 and 8, those corners that were surprising trouble spots, but a lot of drivers were able to figure it out over the 3 races.
Well, Ken Hausiel won race number 3, and it was a long time in the making, Ken. Kind of a messy night all around, but he finally capped it off with a win in a pretty spectacular fashion, fighting with Morgan Burkhardt. Take us through those last couple laps and getting that move just right.
Yeah, first I'd like to apologize to everybody I ruined in the first 2 races. That was not my best work, but yeah, the last race was a lot of fun. Sucks for Jack to crash out, and unfortunately take Will with him. We were having a good battle, but yeah, battling with Morgan was a ton of fun. The last lap, I screwed up and missed the shift, and it on the second to last lap, it really helped me. He had a big run on Morgan down the front straight, and then he really was aggressive in the back of the track, and I was surprised I held the outside. So turned out okay. Just block into the hairpin a little and hope for the best out of the hairpin, but really good racing.
A lot of fun to watch, Ken. Congratulations picking up a win in race number 3. We'll see you next week at the Glen.
Thanks, Kyle. We're VIR next week.
Oh, VIR next week. Thank you for the correction. We moved that because of the build with the potentially upcoming Watkins Glen. So excited to see that. And as I understand from the sources that I've been hearing from, there is a high possibility that will be there. So very, very excited, Ken. We'll see you at VIR next week.
Thanks, Kyle. Really looking forward to it.
Move on now to our race 2 winner, Jamison Huffman, who got it done in the second race. Race number 3 was a top 5 for you, Jamison, but an interesting night. A lot of trouble out there. It seemed like this car was really challenging to drive.
It was definitely not the right track for this car. I've run this car quite a lot for a bunch of different leagues, and this was very, very bad choice. It was not how the car usually handles, really, at all. I don't know how the racing usually goes out to be, because usually the racing is a lot of fun racing and constantly battling in about 10-15 car packs, and this was isolated out early and then just run laps if you're by yourself, or if you're with someone you'll battle a little bit, but you're only really battling at T1.
Well, either way, regardless of the racing, which we thought was very entertaining, even if it was sort of spread out a little bit, you won race 2. Back to GT4 cars next week. Is that going to be a disappointment? Do you like these open wheel cars? Because it seems like you kind of click with these pretty well.
I much prefer formula cars. It's also a mix of, I'm not the biggest fan of kind of GT cars in general. I'm a little bit more excited about the GT4s, but I really like the Vs, and I really like the racing that they put up, so I've really been enjoying these cars.
All right, well, we'll see you next week at VIR, Jameson. Congratulations on your race win. We'll see you next week. Talk now with Isaac Beekman, who snuck away a victory in race number 1. Wild circumstances led to that, Isaac, but tonight it has been an interesting evening, to say the least. There was lots of good battling across the racetrack. You came home with a win in the first race in a dramatic way. Take us through your night. Well, looks like no Isaac Beekman, so we'll have to try again on that one next week, Connor. But all things considered, tonight was a really interesting night. The Formula V. I like how this races. I know it was a little bit messy, but I think the track was the biggest contributor to that. I think we should do this again sometime.
Yeah, it would be pretty fun to see. Maybe we could get a track. It's kind of weird. These things are. I'm trying to think of tracks that might be able to work with this. Maybe some, longer straightaway tracks. Maybe Spa. I wonder how long of a lap that would be at Spa. Maybe a little too long, but surely.
Oh, you got disconnected there, Connor. Whatever happened.
Oh, sorry about
that. Oh, there
that.
you go. You're back.
I think I muted on accident, but it's kind of interesting. I think this car could work at a lot of tracks, but I think you need smaller tracks. Charlotte Roval could be an interesting one. There's some infield courses that could work out as well, so who knows. But these Formula Bs, they were a blast, and surprisingly, they looked pretty hard to drive. Not a walk in the park by any means. You had to wheel them. You had to be careful into the corners. You couldn't really brake as much as we know because brakes kind of just throw the car out of whack. It was fun watching who could be consistently fast in these, and I expect this to be ran a few more times. It was very fun to watch.
Fun to watch and fun to be here for. But next week, VIR returns with GT4 cars on SimTV. We'll see you next week for our points racing round for the WDCR SCCA Virtual Racing League. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week.